Hello, sports fans. Mauricio here. Well, this video is about primary keys and composite primary keys and what's the difference, and just throwing a little bit about foreign keys as well. So, why have a key in at all, and how do you get the key? Well, right click and add. That'll say add primary key. So we want every row to be unique. That's a database thing. Um, that's a good restriction. It's called entity integrity. The primary key creates entity integrity. So for your dimension tables, those are who, what, where, when. So dimensional data is easy to have a primary key. Employee table, the employee ID is a primary key. Products table, the product ID is a primary key. Customers table, well, customer ID. And so the how I teach it, and I've seen a lot, is that the primary key is an integer and it's a number. And so it's not a name, it's not a word, it's not like state, Florida, or I don't know, FL, or no, it's an ID number. It's a number, and that makes it easy to connect tables together on a integer field. So I recommend integer data type for primary keys, and it's something like product ID, customer ID, employee ID, etc. So the primary key uniquely identifies every row in the table. So for example, everybody's got their own student ID because you don't want somebody else's bill and you don't want their grades. And people can have the same name. People can have the same first and last name. People can have the same first, middle, and last name. So we need some other way to uniquely identify every row in the table. So we need every row in the table unique. All the employees have their own number, etc. So taking a look at the data, all my products have a different ID number, and you refer to the product by, product 2020. You could have a long number like a real SKU, could be an 8-digit number or something, but we have product ID numbers. All right, so that's I think they call it atomic primary key, but it's just one. It just takes one column to uniquely identify every row in the table. Does every table need a primary key? No, but it's a good idea. All right, well, now this is more difficult though, a composite primary key. So how do you create it? You just click the first row, hold the shift button down, hit the down arrow. So somebody said to me, shouldn't the primary key be these three fields, sales ID, product ID, customer ID? And I said it could, but why not keep it a little simpler? So it takes two columns to create one primary key. So that's called a composite primary key, because the key is the composite of the two columns. It takes two columns to uniquely identify every row. So the key is made up of composite of two columns. So let's take a look why we're doing that. A student said to me, can't you have why do I need to do that? So a student said to me, why do I need a composite primary key? I said, because you probably want to have more than one line item. So invoice 27's got 2 items. Invoice 28's got, I think, 9. And invoice 29's got 4. So those are duplicate. You can't have 4 of the same sale ID. If you just had that one field to uniquely identify every row, you can't have sale 29 in there 4 times. That's a duplicate. Can't do it. But if you use the combination, sale ID and product ID to uniquely identify every row, then you certainly can. So yes, the sale ID is duplicate, but the pair of column values, 29, product ID 1008, sales ID 29, product ID 2002, etc. The combination or the composite or the pair of two column values does uniquely identify every record. And the question is, why did you do that, Featherman? And there are other ways to identify the rows in this table. We can have another column here that just said line item, and it would be like 1 to 10,000 because if you had 10,000 line items, so that would be, you could just have a unique number and then just auto increment that. But I thought it better to restrict the data coming into the table. And so just for the record, this sales ID, this in statement's pretty nice. So rather than say sales ID equals 27 or sales ID equals 28 or sales ID equals 29, you could just say sales ID in this list. So let me give you the rationale why I used a composite primary key. And when you make your tables, you may choose to do the same or choose to do something different. But on this invoice, so for example, I did not want any product to be on the invoice twice. So if there was 4 line items on the invoice, I wanted, for example, all the units for this shampoo product, I wanted them all on one line item, so 20 units total. So I wanted the invoice to be clean. If there's 4 line items, there you go. There's 4. This is opposite of going to Safeway or Walmart or Fred Meyer's or something. You can go to the self-checkout. You can get some gum, boop, and then you could buy some beverages, boop. Then you could buy some more gum, boop, and then you could buy some chicken, boop, and you buy some more gum, boop. So you could have gum on your ticket, on your receipt 3 times. I didn't want that. If I wanted one line item with 3 units of gum rather than 3 line items with 1 unit of gum. So I'm trying to keep it clean here. So each combination of product and sales is on the invoice once. So I couldn't add another line item 2020. I can't add that line. I can't add that product on the invoice again. In a future video, we'll show how to increase, or in a different video, we show how to increase the units if the product's already on the invoice. But I wanted each product on the invoice once. So I have a composite primary key, and that ensures that each product is on the invoice only once, because you can't have that pair of sale ID, product ID value. You can't have that on there twice. That's what a primary key does. It's a unique. So sale 29, product 2020 can only be on the invoice once. All right, but what about foreign keys? So the product ID helps to uniquely identify the line item as part of the composite primary key. But the product ID also can't be some bogus number. So this product 2020 has to be vetted. Is that a real product? So we set up the foreign keys. And so when I type a product ID in the sales details table, it must be one of the existing values in the products table, same as the customer's foreign key. When I type a customer ID in the sales details table, to sell them something, it can't be a bogus customer. It has to be a customer that pre-exists in the customers table. So the way I set up the system, you have to register the customer first, and then you could sell to them. Similarly, you have to register the product first and then have some inventory, and then you could sell it. You can't just add things to the invoice that haven't been recorded in the products table, and you can't sell the customers that are not real. If you wanted to, I suppose you could have like a fake customer 999 for cash sale, but that's not in my design. How could you do this a little different? Some people may say. Well, you could have a complete different column up here that just said transaction ID, and that would be the primary key, and then you would get rid of these composite primary key. By the way, it just came to mind. So let me just say, composite primary key has no auto number. If you have the products table and it's just a atomic or just one column, that can be auto number. And that's another reason why we use numbers, because then you can have auto number. You cannot have auto number if it's a composite primary key. Also, only the primary key can be auto number. So, for example, the customer can't be auto number. None of the fields can be auto number except the primary key, and only if it's a one column atomic primary key. So in the recap, you may have a primary key it takes two columns to uniquely identify every row. That's called the composite primary key. One of the columns can also be a foreign key. Here we have the product ID going to the products table, and then we have another foreign key, and so the primary keys keep every row unique in the table. The foreign keys make sure the values you type into a column aren't garbage. You can't just make up, in this case, a customer or a product, and that's called referential integrity. And so these two integrity constraints, referential integrity or foreign key constraint, primary key constraint, entity integrity, these integrity constraints are the backbone of data accuracy for databases, and why a real database is way superior than Excel. Excel, you could type whatever the heck you want in any column. You'd have to be pretty advanced to set up any type of constraint. So, entity integrity, primary key, keeps every row unique. And in this table, category ID is a foreign key. So when we when we add a new product and we specify its category, we can't make it up. It has to be one of the pre-existing real categories. Similarly, in the sales details table, when we choose a customer or product, can't make it up. Have to be pre-existing. So a foreign key is a lookup value, just to look up and make sure the value is legit, not garbage. And these two concepts, entity integrity, relational integrity, implemented by primary key, foreign key, are the backbone of quality data, getting quality data into your database. Well, you have a good night. I hope you're enjoying this content, and thank you for your efforts.